So all my fakeouts generally have three things in common. One, it's going to have some type of spatial reverb. I want it to sound wider. I want it to kind of sound reverb just makes it sound more intense. Two, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a really fun, interesting video that I'm super excited about. And we're going to be changing it up from the original format, which is going to be me giving a topic and explaining how I do it or how I would go about it. Today, I let you guys take the lead by the polls I put on my social medias asking, what do you struggle with the most when producing? And you guys gave me a lot of feedback. And as you can see, I kind of summarized most of it into a wheel here that looks kind of chaotic, but this gives me such a great video idea, and maybe it can turn into a series. And if you like this style of series, make sure to like it and comment on it, because depending on how this video does, I'll keep going with them. So make sure you like, comment. If you're new here, subscribe. And today I'm going to be going over 3 of these that are on the chart in depth. With that being said, I have 2 more announcements. I am playing in Orlando, February 27th. It's going to be my debut out there. It's going to be a phenomenal time. So if you're in the area, make sure you get tickets or just make sure you RSVP to the event on Facebook, Guild's Facebook page. And secondly, my Discord is officially going to open this weekend. I've been kind of behind on that, but I think I have everything put together. So we're going to be doing a soft opening the time this video comes out. It'll be a link in the description for you guys, and you guys can join the community that we're going to be starting. And probably next weekend I'll start a producer challenge, or maybe the following week once everyone gets settled in. So lots of cool stuff coming with that. And with that being said, spin to win, baby. Overcompression, too many layers. Let's talk about how to layer properly and ways not to overcompress your mix, because honestly, this is more common than I think people think. They try to slam stuff together and they don't want their headroom absolutely smacked, so they're trying to overcompress stuff. So we're going to jump into a project file where I think I can give a good example of a ton of layers and show the purpose and where it works. So we're going to head there. Okay, I know this is edited out, but my Ableton crashed like 3 times trying to open this project, and it's been like 10 minutes, so I'm just glad to be here, everyone. I chose this project because there's roughly like 80 bass layers in this thing. What I want to do is I'm going to play this for you from this little thing to this 4-bar, this actually track coming out next month with the homie Ridley Slim. I know he's cool with me showing it off, and it has a ton of layers, so let's get into it. Just for the sake of layers, let's talk. Everything should have a purpose. On the way down, I should be able to hear everything that happens. So let me show this. Kind of adding that push-pull and then drop here. It has like this echo. You can kind of hear it very far in the background. Next one. It's that it just keeps pushing the beat there, so you can hear these together as well. Once again, another thing, it has a purpose. You can hear all that very prevalent as well. Let's keep going. This is kind of all together, honestly. They're all making a very full sound. So those are all playing a part. This one is actually playing a very, very high, and it's getting slammed to a stereo. So you're gonna hear crunch, 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 crunch. And then we have more stuff. That's playing a part too. They have the Sussy Boys. You can hear it all. And of course, that sub. So what? Oh, no. You can hear that stuff as well. So like I just went over probably like 20 different layers of stuff doing different rhythms. It's kind of filling it out. So everything should have a purpose. And the way to make it have a purpose is make sure you're not only competing with your hertz, your 0 to 20K, you know, if something's sitting in 600, okay, well then maybe all my other stuff around that 600 hertz is ducked out a little bit, and this is the main element. You don't have to go over the top where something is sitting exactly. You need to duck out everything else. It's going to sound really weird, but maybe on the root note or really where you want it to accentuate and come through. You can also do this by stereo imaging, just like with this. It's very wide. So when I collapse it, it's going to sound much smaller. So I'm not allowing it to compete with the main bass by pushing out wider. And you can do this with a EQ8 where you set it to mid-side mode and pushing certain parts or pulling certain parts. A lot of it's going to be EQ shaping. And that doesn't mean you have to get in and get very resonant heavy. Just make sure everything kind of has a space in the mix. Now, overcompression. Here's what my reference is. As I group elements that go together and I compress them together, Ableton has phenomenal multiband compression. It's about the only compression I use for the most part. I use a little bit of OTT, but multiband's my biggest go-to. And the biggest thing I think people struggle with is they use compression to try to level something, when in reality everyone's using some type of soft clipper. And in this instance, it's G clip. I use my own bass clipper. I use stock saturator a lot of the time, but you'll always see at the end of my even individual lanes soft clipper. This one has OTT. I also have a compressor here. Once again, another soft clipper. Clip shifter. I use all of them synonymously. You'll see again, it's getting thrown together. Soft clipped, going through some soft clipped again. You probably shouldn't do this with two soft clippers, but it happened. And multiband compression, because I'm bringing it together and gain staging it. You'll never see my compression at 100%. Now 62% is quite high, but it worked for me in this situation. Usually it's around 20 to 50%, and I'm soft clipping. So my final solution to overcompressing is try soft clipping and try EQ masking your layers, and make sure all your layers play a part. If they're not playing a part, if they're too quiet, if they're not adding anything, or they're competing with something, then it doesn't need to be there, and you need to restructure it. Maybe it needs to be higher pitched, lower pitched, and build around your main thing. And that is by having one main element and building everything around that. And then I think it'll be a lot easier to produce that way. So great question. Let's go on to the next spin. Filling out drop backgrounds. I love this as well. So, all right, we're going to go into how to fill out your backgrounds. Celsius, sponsor me. All right, so filling out your background. Once again, I'm going to play you like, I don't know, 8 bars of this or 16 bars. And I'm going to show you. So I'm going to play 8 bars of this drop. And I want you guys to try to listen to the background noises. And I'm going to show you exactly what I do to kind of fill it all out. So here it is. This is what the background noises are. So how do I fill this out? Well, my biggest thing is like, how do I fill out the background? And the thing with my background effects is not for you to notice that it's there, but you would notice if it's gone. I think Company said that like a while back. Maybe it was Wooly or something. They're like, you really don't notice background effects, but you'll notice if they're gone. So that's how I approach it. And my thing is just like layering it out. So I have crowd noise is amazing because it's kind of like white noise, but a little more interactive, or pink noise, sorry. These are all kind of hitting on like some type of quarter or eighth note. Top of that, a lot of effects. So let's go through. So all that together makes a nice bed, but you can see that if we go to effects here, is still hitting like negative 16 or 15, and without it. It's that little subtleness that's going to add the space in the background. So how to fill out your drops is once you have the main drop and the bass is filled out with stereo and space and how you want to do your swells and How do you want to let them know tension's coming? As the drop's going on, well, I'm letting them know through risers, like, okay, this is... So it's that tension pull. So I have all different types of stuff. And when my impacts hit on the drop, they are quiet and they don't have low end because the kick and the sub are like maxed, right? You're pushing 0. So there's literally no room. So you have to carve it out by either not having competition, and that's mainly the only way to do it. So I hope that explains it really well. And on to the last one. Nice. I love fakeouts. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. Alrighty, so my recording stopped in the midst of number 3, so we back. So how to do fakeouts? There's so many different ways to do fakeouts, and I just want to show you multiple different ways. One is going to be a motif switch up. So all my fakeouts generally have 3 things in common. One, it's going to have some type of spatial reverb. I want it to sound wider. I want it to kind of sound just reverb just makes it sound more intense. 2, it's going to be maybe introducing something slowly over time, or it's not going to have something that the drop fully has. 3, it's going to maybe have some type of pitch change. So it could be going up, down. So for example, this first one, it's the same track we were on before. It has a pitching down. This is a motif, and then we switch up the motif. The point of the fake out was to get you thinking this is going to be it, and we switch it. So here we go on that one. We're falling. And as you can hear, we switch up the motif completely. So that first one, once again, I had that screech kind of being pulled in, slowly introducing, and then when it hits, we switch up the motif and keep the stain blasting, where at first it was the chugs. The second type is going to be what I call a kind of a low energy transfer. It's really common like tear out, where it's like right before the drop, it's like a very bandpass sound where it's like you can hear some of it, and then when it hits, it opens up. So that's kind of what this is. Not much pitch changing. There is reverb, but it's going to sound very stale, and then when the drop hits, it's going to sound much bigger. So that sounds like this. So you can hear how much wider and impactful that drop sounds. Like when you kind of hear that pre-drop, like, okay, and then it hits and it's like, oh, okay. It's kind of like making your expectations a lot lower. You're not really sure how full the frequency is going to be, and then it hits you with a full spectrum. The next one is what I call the carry-on. I don't call it that, but this is what I'm going to go with, is the carry-on, which is you have a motif, you're presenting them, it's more spatialed out. And then when the drop hits, it's like the same motif carried on with drums added to it and maybe another sound. So that's what this sounds like. Massive amount of reverb. So then you have the drop there, and it just continues on with it. Very simple. Usually I will make the reverb go a little bit lower, or sometimes I'll keep it stagnant. As you can see, there was really no bandpass there. There was no sustain there, which came in, that was added with the drums, and there really wasn't too much pitch change. Lastly, I call this it's pretty much part of the drop. So if you're doing a fake out, that's not for 8, 16 bars, 60 bars is quite obnoxious, but 4 or 8 bars, then I would just count like a 2-bar fake out as like a drumless start. So you still have your 16-bar drop, your first 2 bars just as a kick, and then you maybe skip your snare, your kick, your snare again, right? And that's kind of the situation with this track, which sounds like this. Drop. Pump it up. 4-bar. It's just a slight, it's not really fake out. It is, because you don't have any drums, so people think it's fake out, but it really just kind of introducing the basses without the drums being in their face real quick. I love doing this as well. I love taking drums out of something. Even I'll like turnarounds. It's my favorite thing to do. We go back to this one. Like, I think I take out, yeah, you could see right here, my drums gone again, just how I talked about that. I keep my sidechain here. So here's first drop. Oops. Now this doesn't, that reverb goes crazy, doesn't extend the drop. Multiple ways to do a fake out. There's no right or wrong way. Just make sure you have a good rhythm or what you really want to drive home with it. Have fun with it. You can also do like a complete switch up with sounds. You could have something and then your drops complete something else. Like I said, I really don't have examples of that because I really don't do it that much. But yeah, I hope this video was inspiring to you guys. I hope you guys learned a lot. If you do like it, like I said, leave a thumbs up. Comment down below what you struggle with in production, because I'm going to add that to the list if we continue on doing this series. That way everyone can have a chance at getting their questions answered with in-depth detail. And subscribe if you're new here. So I appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your time. Join the Discord. Peace.